Hi. Morning. Friday to all 5 of you on the stream right now. I know that's going to increase here in the next few minutes, but happy Friday nonetheless. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to another stream, another live stream talking NBA player props over on Prizepicks. Pulling up the thumbnail there. Hope everybody is feeling good today. Big NBA slates coming off a 2-gamer yesterday. What a I don't want to say crazy slate, but it really wasn't crazy. A disappointing game between the Nuggets and the Warriors. If you're a Warriors fan, super frustrating to watch that game. But if you had some Warrior plays in your slip, like I don't know, second half points for Jonathan Kuminga, you were a little pissed off. Maybe second half 3-pointers made for Michael Porter Jr., who played like 8 minutes yesterday. A little frustrating. The Spurs and Bucks game was really entertaining, to the point where I felt like that game could have went to overtime if the Bucks didn't tighten it up in the last 5 minutes or so. We talked about how bad their defense is, and I think that was on full display yesterday. Even the guys in the studio were saying how they should just be stomping this team out, and the Spurs were hanging tough and keeping it close, and they had the lead for a few possessions. I mean, ultimately, Giannis is just too good for anybody on that team to handle, but they almost lost that game. I mean, I don't know if they can compete in a 7-game series with that kind of defense. It's a little ridiculous, giving up that many points to the Spurs, and whose best player is not even playing 30 minutes a game. So talk about our 2 plays from yesterday. We'll get into those. I got a couple plays for you as well. But those 2 plays, one of them I know got bumped up for sure. I'm not sure about the other one, but we'll go over them. Now, I'm a little frustrated because I did make plans to post a video, like a recorded video, going over my plays, and then that was going to set up today's live stream. But I was having some difficulty getting it downloaded and uploaded to the channel, and I just kept getting all these overwrite errors and things like that. So it didn't come through. But I went ahead and put my 2-pick power in my Discord, in my channel. I put that in there around 11:30 p.m. last night. So unfortunately, the video did not take place, but the picks were in early. I'm just double checking. So one of them is still at the original line, and one of them did get bumped. We'll talk about them here in a second. But ready to get into some player props for today's big ass slate. 14 games when I counted them yesterday. 14 games. A lot of injury news too. I should have created an injury report slide. I always I've been leaving those out lately, but we got a lot of names on this list. Zach LaVine questionable. I didn't think we see him back on the court for the Bulls, but just because you're questionable doesn't mean you're playing. But his name is on the questionable list. KD, Vucevic. I mean, LeBron is always on the questionable list. Butler's out, Garland's out, Mobley, Ayton, Melton, Hayward, Mark Williams. So Charlotte looking thin in that front court. Dylan Brooks is out. Gary Harris, Jonathan Isaac, and Franz Wagner are all out. So Magic looking really thin. D'Angelo Russell's doubtful. Exum is doubtful. Caleb Martin's doubtful. So all those names on the list, all those names are baked into the current line. So unfortunately, we're not gonna get the drop on the books. They're already on top of all that. But always important to update yourself on injury news, because I hear people sometimes say they didn't know somebody was going to be playing, or why is this person's minutes being cut short? It's because somebody came back from injury and now the roles have been reduced or, kind of realigned. So yeah, always educate yourself on the injury report, because that's one of the worst feelings ever, is to be like 100% on a player and then they only play 3/4 of the minutes that they have been playing, or they're not taking as many shots and things like that. So, all right. Let's get into yesterday's plays real quick. Jim, what's going on, man? Good morning. Happy Friday to you. Darrell, what's going on? Happy Friday, sir. H Chow standing up. It is raining in Austin as well. Got my Rockets hat on. It's nasty in Texas, I guess. Austin's nasty. Houston's nasty. It's this rainy, humid shit in January is one of the reasons I miss living up Northeast, because is like the Northeast is pretty seasonal, where winter is winter. There is no mistaking, like, oh, what is it, spring? No, it's winter. And you're in Boston, it's fucking 10 degrees, it's winter. And summer is summer, And so like in Austin, Houston, San Antonio, you can have like year-long summer. You can have a year-long spring, hot ass spring. So yeah, I miss the seasonal, weather, but hopefully it gets a little cooler here without the rain. I enjoy cool weather. I don't like doing a whole bunch of activity in it. I just like when it's cold outside in January. It's appropriate. So yeah, this weather is nasty. Howard, what's going on? Good morning to you. All right. Yeah, Jim did a solid. Jim posted a slip in the Discord, and I was looking at it a few minutes before the stream started. And yeah, we can go over some of those plays that you posted in the Discord, Jim, for sure. He created a 6-pick flex. I like some of those lines. All right, so we could talk about that for sure. Let's talk about our plays from yesterday. So Jonathan Kuminga, I was really, really all over this play. He only played 19 minutes. I had to double check that. Jonathan Kuminga only played 19 minutes. He did not get into foul trouble. He only had one foul. So the guy put up 16 points in 19 minutes. He's averaging almost a minute a point, or a point a minute. That's nothing crazy. It's the NBA. These guys are all talented, but for him to have a reduced role yesterday, you had guys like Saric. I think because Saric had such a huge game yesterday, maybe that cut into Kuminga's minutes. You don't want to pull players off the court when they're feeling it, and Saric was feeling it. Considering his role, Pajemski was feeling it in the second half. Chris Paul unders continue to be a thing. I saw a lot of Twitter, X posts, tweets, whatever, yesterday about how we need to lock in Chris Paul's points, because he, as a starter, he's averaging, we talked about this on the stream a little bit, but he's averaging X amount of points per game as a starter. Well, he finished with 9 points, and he had a point prop of 9.5. Talked about some of his unders yesterday. I was on his 3-pointers made. Talked about his 3-pointers made, because it's possible to hit 2 threes and still not go over your points. That didn't come through. But Kuminga did hit his point prop, so that was fun to watch. He only got 4 rebounds on a 4.5 rebound prop. I'd like to believe that had he played 25 minutes yesterday, he would have picked up 1 extra board. Saric was snagging all the damn boards. Saric led the team in rebounds, tied for team lead in assists as well. 7 rebounds and 6 assists for Dario Saric. All right, so Kuminga was a fine play. Giannis, on the other hand, so I know I wasn't the only one on his unders. We talked about the under on his points yesterday. I think his points were at 36 or 34.5. Doesn't matter. He scored 44. I was on the under on his points and assists. We talked about why. The Bucks just weren't able to put this game away. I was counting on this game being less competitive, more of a statement game for the Bucks after, getting beat by the Pacers the night before. And it didn't really happen like that. So Giannis played full run. Giannis played 40 minutes in a non-overtime game. Giannis played 40 minutes and put up 44 points, 14 boards, 7 assists. So he got this line on points alone. Hindsight, I would have taken the over on this one, but the unders were looking really good for him yesterday. One play we talked about, we didn't write it up, but it was mentioned in the stream. I hope y'all played it. It was the Wemby, basically anything for Wembanyama. But what we talked about in the stream was his points and assists. I think his points and assists line was 21.5. He finished with 27 points and 1 assist. So that dude was on another level. Only played 26 minutes. He had a great game, considering the fact that he played less than 30 minutes. 6 blocks and steals. Did turn the ball over 5 times, but when you're putting up that many points, I mean, if you're playing as fantasy points, 5 turnovers don't really help you. But you can make up for that with just 2 blocks and steals and still have 3 left, So good game for him. Great game for Giannis. Not a good game for me since I picked the under on his ass. But those are the 2 plays we talked about in yesterday's video. I was really, really optimistic about these 2 plays. I felt really good going into that game. And honestly, another thing, I had no idea that Chris Middleton was not going to play the second half. He only played the first half. And when you take Middleton off the floor, that's 1 less score. There's no way to prove it, but I'm assuming that some of that usage doesn't go to Giannis if Middleton's on the floor. So that's another thing too. I had no idea Middleton was only going to play 1 half. Like that's some bullshit right there. Adrian Griffin, that's some bullshit right there. This is the strongest coffee I've ever had in my entire life. I did not make this coffee. Starbucks made this coffee. They did it right today. Sometimes it can be a little weak, but not today. That shit is strong, like the Nile. All right. Went over our 2 plays from yesterday. Let's talk about some new plays for today. So we're gonna head over to Prizepicks. Oh shit. Hold on. Maybe y'all want to know the 2 plays that I talked about that I wrote up and didn't get to talk about or didn't get to post in the video. We'll get to those 2 plays real quick too. Thanks 25 promo code for props.cash. Props.cash is the research tool that we use here on the channel. It's what I feature in all my live streams. It's what I feature in all my recorded content. So any interest in using props.cash for your own research, Thanks 25 is your promo code. Get 25% off your first month. That referral information is in the video description, all my live stream descriptions. If you don't know what this is, stick around on the live stream. We'll use it in real time. You can see the tools in real time and see if you like it. And if you do like it, boom, save some money. Use my code. All right. So first play that I wrote up was Derek White over 19.5 points and rebounds. Now this one is still on the board. I like the over on this one. We'll look at it together on props.cash. And then the second play I liked was Jalen Johnson's PRA. Now this one has since been moved up to 29.5 PRA. So I really like this one. We'll talk about it in detail over on props.cash. But since coming back from injury, he hasn't missed a beat. He missed a month with that wrist injury or thumb injury, whatever it was. And he's just been on fire since coming back. So liking these 2 plays, put these in a power already over on Prizepicks. Put that power play in, put that slip over in the Discord. There you see my power play right there. 20 to get you 60. 28.5 for Jalen, 19.5 for Derek White. So that's the only slip I've built so far. I'm thinking we can build a slip today. If y'all are cool with it, I say we build a 6-pick flex, and let's put some good plays in there. No reaches, no if ands. Let's put some dope ass plays in this slip, and let's cash it out. All right. So we got Prizepicks pulled up. I have a few plays here that were catching my eye. This Jaylen Brown was looking real good. It just got bumped up. I don't know if y'all saw that. Just got bumped up to 9 rebounds and assists. We could still talk about it at 9. James Harden over his threes. That's also in play. Hartenstein over block shots, not blocks and steals, block shots. So this is not blocks and steals. He doesn't have the wiggle room of the steal, but the guy's legit in terms of, rim protection, and I think it's a prop that we can look into. And then we can add in some plays from Jim Slip over in the cord. Link to the Discord has been in all my content, so I feel like you should have it by now. But if you don't have it, I can put that link in the chat, and you can click it whenever you want. Jim had less on Holmgren's rebounds, more on James Harden's rebounds and assists. Tatum over points, first half points. Jordan Poole under 16.5 full game points. Miles Turner under 27.5 PRA. And Jalen Johnson over first half points, rebounds, and assists. So those were Jim's plays in the Discord. I like that Jalen Johnson points, rebounds, and assists. We could take a look at that together for first half. There you go. All right. So I got a few plays to kick things off. If you are interested in, or not interested, if you want a question answered, if you want to look into a certain play, I got the format on the screen. Player name, player prop, and then whether you're looking at the over or under for that player. And then that way, when we look it up on props.cash, we can make a case for it, based off what we're getting. And then hopefully that helps you with making a decision with your plays. All right, let's see. ATM, what's going on, man? Good morning. Rock Beast, ROK Beast, morning. Liking assist for Trae Young. I wasn't looking at that one. We can look at that one. We can put it on the board. Get things going. Trae Young. Trae the Truth. 11.5. I thought it was at 12. Did it get bumped down? His assist lines have been at 12. I feel like this week, at least within the last couple games. So maybe I'm just getting those mixed up. But 11.5 is where he is today. All right. Good morning, Mike. Mike says, points and assists, cold. Enjoy that one. Yeah. Oh, morning from PA. Why did I think that meant P? Look, this is how you know I'm doing too many player prop content and video. I'm thinking PA stands for points and assists. I was like, morning from points and assists. What state is that in? Morning from Pennsylvania? Cold as fuck. I bet, man. I bet. Broke my slump last night. Hit 13 legs, turned 4 into 5 hundo, and had under 11 assists on Joker to sweat it out. Oh, really? Did he finish with 10 assists? Oh, man. Oh, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's dope. Congrats, man. 500. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. What some bullshit is Brooke Lopez having 0 blocks the other day. The books paid him for that move. Yeah, man. Sometimes it's just crazy, man. Like how wrong the books can be or how bad a player's performance can be. And it's just crazy. It does make you feel like they got the call. Like, how can you go out there, like if you're a prolific scorer or a prolific shot blocker, that is like what you do, and then you don't go out there and do it. It's like, that's like a quarterback forgetting how to throw the ball, and you took the over on his passing yards. It's a suspect thing for sure. I'm right there with y'all on that one. I'm just making sure I got everybody's. All right, cool. All right, so we got Trae Young in there. Darrell wants to take a look at Karl Anthony Towns, PRA on the under. Let's see. Oh, back to the weather in PA. I never spent time in Pennsylvania. I drove through it on the way to Massachusetts. But just the whole like northeast-ish, like from like PA to, you know, like New York, like that whole region, you know, tri-state, wherever. Weather is no joke, man. Like the cold is like the first day I was in Boston, it felt like when the wind hit, it literally felt like somebody slapped me across the back with. I don't know if y'all remember that scene from Dumb and Dumber where they walk into that party and they're dressed in those funny ass suits, and Jeff Daniels like smacks Jim Carrey in the back of the head or back of the leg with a cane, and he just kind of falls. That's how I felt when I was introduced to that wind in the Northeast. So I almost fell down. It was so sharp. And I was like, blue jeans, like you need, like people kept telling me you need long johns and insulated this, and I was like, that's bullshit. I don't need any of that. Yep, yeah, you do. You need a different kind of wardrobe up there. There's no joke. All right, so we're looking at Towns under and Trae Young assists. Don't know if we like the over or under on that. We'll look at it together. So let's do it. Let's head over to props.cash. Let's start breaking some of these downs. I tell you, some of these downs. I tell you what, we're gonna start with Trae and Johnson since they're in the same game, same team, and we'll knock these out at the same time, and then we'll just knock the rest out from there. All right. Make sure I'm logged in over on props.cash. And we are good to go. All right. I don't know if we'll ever like look at this screen together. When we look at props over here, we kind of just go to the game. But if you're using props.cash, I mean, you've seen this screen before. If you don't use props.cash, I mean, this is kind of like your home screen where you can filter out by sections. Like if you want to look at hit rates, which is what this graph over here, these charts over here are showing you. You can pick a certain game, whatever prop for that game, and you can look at the current line as well. Now, this is going to show you defense versus position, and then the streak. I mean, sometimes the streak column is important, is relevant. You know, but just because a player is on a 2-game, 3-game streak or whatever, doesn't mean they continues. Like Derek White's on an 8-game streak in terms of points. I mean, I'd obviously love for that to continue tonight, but that's not why I picked his play today. It had nothing to do with his streak. That's just baked into it. You know, and vice versa. You look at Jonas is like a lot of guys don't have any streaks going on, right? But just because these dudes don't have a streak going on doesn't mean that they're not capable of starting a new one. So all this information is pretty cool. It's just like a nice little snapshot of like the last 10, 5, 20 games versus the opponent. There's a lot of information to digest, but it's all right there for you on one page. So I know we don't really look at this page. We kind of skip right to the player prop itself, but just wanted to show y'all Just want to show you that one. All right, we're going to skip to the Atlanta-Indiana game, and we are going to take a look at we're going to start with Trae Young's assist. And we're going to pull it up. So, snapshot, Trae Young, 11.5. Projected for right under that. Heavier juice towards the over, minus 120. Come on, let's click this. All right. So we got some information to dig into here. So minus 106 on the over, minus 120 on the under. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games out of his last 10 where he's basically giving you 13 plus. I mean, he's averaging 13 in or around 13 assists in those games where he's gone over. Now, overall, he is averaging 12.2, which is still pretty damn good. In 2 of those games, he did push or hook. He did hook, not push. And then he's 60% hit rate over his last 5. Now, one thing I mentioned in the video that did not get posted yesterday, that still pisses me off, is this game has an incredibly high point total. I think it's set to 260. Last time I checked, 260. I made a comment in Discord. Watch these two teams come out and combine for like 150 points. Like, it goes like old school defensive, old school Eastern Conference basketball type, tempo. No, but they are both of these teams are projected to score a ton of points. And I know we're talking about Trae Young's assists, but I mean, Trae Young's not scoring 150 points by himself, right? So he has to be involved in multiple areas of the game, scoring, assist, etc. So looking at his assist versus the Indiana Pacers. Now, in one game this season, he did not hit this line. In fact, he has 0-4-4 in his last 4 games versus the Pacers. So you can look at this a couple ways. There's a high game total. Trae Young is going to score a lot of points. When he's scoring a lot of points, is he dropping a lot of assists? Well, not in his last game versus the Pacers, because he scored 38 and only dropped 8 assists. Now, if we take a look at the same view over his last 10, I mean, this is incredible. And just maintaining that level of consistency, 4 games of 30 or 31. I mean, that's like incredibly consistent. Like, if you knew someone was going to go out there and give you 30 points every single game, like lock it in. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And then he dropped off, which, okay, you expect that because this is a hell of an effort here. And then he picked it up. 24 points per game is not bad. But in those 3 games where he did not score 30 or more, Chicago, Sacramento, Oklahoma. So 13, 9, and 11. His assists slightly up in those games where he's not scoring as many points. I'm just trying to locate games where he's giving you high volume assists and high volume points. So you can look at his points and assists as an alternate to his assist, or you can look at his points alone. But his assist alone, I mean, I'm a little iffy on this one because I just feel like he's going to want to score a lot of points in this game. If his assist line was like a flat 11, 10.5, 11, yeah, I say over on that. But he needs 12 in this game, which means he's setting up his teammates, which means he's not as involved on the scoring end. In a game total, with a game total like we're seeing for this game, I feel like he's going to have his fair amount of shots. So I don't know. I'm not really feeling the over on this one or the under, because Trae Young is a scary dude to take the under on. You know, he gets hot. But I might just leave this one alone. And in terms of alternates, I mean, his points honestly look a little better. I don't know what this is over on Prizepicks, because when I see those kind of odds, minus 111, minus 115, it makes me feel like it's a different line. Like the books don't know what to do with that one. So on Prizepicks, it is set to 28.5. So you are getting it at a lower line. I would honestly look at his points. In a high scoring game like this, I would probably look at his points over his assist, or even his points and assist for Trey. All right, so Jalen Johnson. Let's look at his full game PRA, because that's the one I like and wrote up, and then it got bumped up. And then we'll look at his first half PRA, because Jim put that in his slip. And I want to take a look at his first half lines. So Jalen Johnson, 29.5 PRA, 3 straight games. So what I mentioned in my video that didn't get posted, ever since coming back from injury, he's just been on point. I mean, this is what he was doing prior to the injury. He goes out with the injury against Washington, comes back a month later, day after Christmas, and does this. All right, so we got a nice up-tempo matchup. We got a lot of points to be scored in this game. Indiana's defense giving up a ton of points per game, bottom of the league in defending that, bottom of the league in three-point percentages. So I like what I'm seeing for him at 29.5. I mean, these are the current odds for that line. I'm glad I got it at 28.5. Now, his first half, points, rebounds, and assists are set to 15 on Prizepicks, not 15.5. When we make that line adjustment, it does nothing to his game totals or his game logs, because he's either going well over that amount or well under it. There's no help with that adjusted line. But again, we can take a look. He's come back from injury. He's hit the over on his first half PRA, 15 or more in 3 straight games. So this one looks really sharp. We get it in at 15. I like that one. That's a good find, Jim. I like that one. All right, let's move into, we'll go Hartenstein blocks, Jaylen Brown rebounds and assists, even though that one did get bumped up. Let's do Jaylen Brown's rebounds and assists, because you still might like it at 9. All right, Jaylen Brown. A lot of Jalen's in this league. 9.5 on Prizepicks, so you're still getting it at a lower, 9.5 on certain books. You're still getting it at a lower line. PointsBet FanDuel has this at 9.5. I feel like this one will get bumped up to 9.5 at some point today. But at 9, or 8.5, first of all, this was looking really good, because this changes a lot. 3, 6, 7 games of going over. Now at 9, those overs turn to pushes. So he's going over 5, pushed in 2, under in 3. That rounds out his last 10. But we all know how shitty Utah's defense is. Bottom of the league in points, bottom-ish in the league, points allowed. Definitely bottom of the league in assists allowed. 3 points. 3-pointers made, 3-pointers taken. Rebounds, they're a little stingy with the rebounds. So you would be looking at a balanced effort for Jaylen Brown here, like a 5-5 kind of game or a 6-4 kind of game. Head-to-head matchup with the Jazz, none to speak of this season. Did put up 10 and 6 in 2 meetings with them last year. If we look at his projections here, 5.81 plus 3.41, that's 8. That's 9.22. So it gives slight over on this current line of 9. More wiggle room when it was at 8.5. So I don't like it at 9, to be honest with you, as much. At 8.5 was where I wanted it, and it got bumped up. So there are much better plays. We don't have to force his in his tiny ass little braids into this slip, into our plays. But in case you want to, in case you were looking at that at 9, there you go. All right, let's look at Hartenstein blocks, not blocks and steals, because that one's not on the board. All right, minus 129 on the over, minus 106 on the under. He's gone over this in 2 out of his last 4 meetings with the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 1.8 in those games. No games this year to speak of. Now over his last 10 games, this shit's crazy. 5-3, 8 in his last 2 games. He's averaging 1.7 over his last 10, and he's averaging 1.8 over his last 5. Obviously, no Mitch Robinson in his lineup for the rest of the year is going to have a huge impact on his usage, and he's just going to have more opportunity to put up numbers. I mean, I'm going to go back to this last. How long has Mitch Rob been out? I just want to compare minutes. So all these games here, where my little cursor is here, Mitch Rob played in some of those, most of those. I don't know about all of those. These games over here, in this little area over here, these games are played without Mitch Rob. Look at the minute increase. Look at the usage increase here. I mean, shot volumes up. So obviously no Mitch Rob in the lineup impacts him tremendously. Looking at the over on his blocks, I mean, I think this is a good play for sure. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Blocks and steals for Hartenstein. All right, and Karl Anthony Towns he himself is not taking on the entire Houston Rockets team, but he and his teammates are. Looking at the under PRA, 33.5. So let's break this down. On the season, he's averaging 33.4. Over his past meetings with the Rock, well, Jesus, he hasn't faced this team since 2022. So he didn't play him at all in the second half of last season, and has yet to verse the Rockets this season. All right, last 10 games. He has not gone over this very many times. 40% of the games he has, 60 he has not. And then even worse for his last 5, where he's only giving you a 20% hit rate. So we might be on to something with his under here. Looking at what the odds have this at, there is slight juice coming in on the over. I'm curious if that is because Eason is still day-to-day. Dillon Brooks is out. Not like Dillon Brooks would be like only guarding Karl Anthony Towns, but Dillon Brooks is a pretty solid defender. Not having his presence on the floor, I think that does hurt the Rockets a little bit. And not having Tari Eason available as well. I'm trying to see if he is on any of these reports. I don't see his name under confirmed out. And I am not seeing his name. Oh, so he is questionable today. So I'm just curious if some of this juice is coming in on the over because Tari Eason is questionable. Like if Tari Eason gets ruled out, I wonder what that does to this, or if anything, it doesn't do anything. But we can take a look at his last 5, his last 10, projected for 31.27. The Rockets defense is much improved this season. So they are tops in the NBA in points allowed, in defending points. I mean, they are stingy as hell. 109.6. That is good for the second lowest in the NBA. They're number 1 in defending assists, number 7 in defending the threes. Threes taken and threes made. Are giving up a little bit more than the league average in terms of rebounds, but still, these categories here super impressive considering where they were last year at this time. Night and day. Yeah, so I see the logic in taking the under on Karl Anthony Towns for sure. I don't mind that one at all. All right. James Harden threes. Let's look at James Harden and his threes real quick. I think Jim had James over his rebounds and assists, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 13.5 rebounds and assists for James. All right, so his 3-pointers made. It's at 2.5. That's it's not Klay Thompson, Steph Curry territory, but it's, we're used to seeing 1.5 threes, for the line. Now this is at 2.5, so it's a little higher than what we're used to seeing most of these stats at, or most of these props. So, but for good reason, because James Harden can shoot the shit out the three, and he makes a lot of them. So there you go. There's my in-depth analysis on why that's at 2.5. But over his last 10, he is averaging 3.7, and over his last 5, he's averaging 3.4. He looks so much better in LA than he did in Philly, than he did in Brooklyn. Obviously, he'll never look as good as he did when he was in Houston. That was his team. That was his city. But in LA, he just looks better as a player. He just looks like a better human being. Like, he just looks so mad all the time in Philly. Maybe it was Doc Rivers. I don't know. But he sure is playing a lot better in LA and doing James Harden things, which is good for the league. And it makes the NBA a better product. But doing good things in terms of 3-pointers made over his last 10 and 5 games. Head-to-head matchup with the Pelicans. He does have one matchup this season where he only made one 3-pointer. Played 37 minutes in that game. He took only 8 shots in that game. So 6 of those shots were from 3. Back in November, when did he come to LA? Was this in or around the time where he was still kind of getting adjusted to shit? Because only taking 8 shots for James Harden seems like really out of character. But that's what he did in that last game. And then we can see what his projections are. 2.66 over here on Props.cash. So that's going to be over the 2.5 that you need for his line. Taking a look at his rebounds and assists in that game versus the Pelicans, he did put up 15 rebounds and assists as well, projected for 13.61. So you're getting slight over on the projections, minus 118 on the over, minus 108 on the under. Over his last 10, James Harden is also contributing in this category as well. So 80% hit rate over his last 10, 80% hit rate over his last 5. This game is being played on the road. You want to take it a little deeper and look at what he's done on the road. Over his last 10, 50% hit rate, and over his last 5, 80% hit rate. So home or away, James Harden is still putting up numbers. So two James Harden props for you. 3-pointers made, rebounds and assists, courtesy of Jim the Judge. All right. I think that rounds out our first round of player props here. Let's take a look at what we got. Let's see. Adam, good morning to you. Welcome in. Epic 310. Welcome in. Let's see. Want to make sure I didn't miss any new lines. What's up, Damian? Damian says Middleton wasn't even supposed to play. He's been taking off the second leg of back-to-backs until last night. Yeah. I think it also has something to do with his like the nationally televised games where you can't sit superstars or only one superstar or something like that. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yeah. Middleton's minutes have been just all over the place because he's just been hurt more than he's not hurt. All right, so We're gonna clear this out. Out of all these plays, to be honest with you, man, I like the Jalen Johnson first half PRA. I'm gonna take this one off. I like the James Harden 3-pointers made the most out of those plays. And here, Karl Anthony Towns under. We can leave Towns in there. I do want. I'm gonna build a slip with our plays here. So I like these three here. I wouldn't even mind that 13.5 rebounds and assists for James Harden if it's still on the board. Got bumped up to 14.5. So that just makes me like his threes made a little bit more. Although he has been clearing that 14 as well in those games. So sticking with these three here. Don't be afraid to throw some unders in here as well. Again, I'm not going to go on a rant about unders and overs, but unders are part of the business too. These dudes go under a lot. So if you got an under in there, throw it in the chat. All right, let's keep this going. ATM, Bay over rebounds, Brown over rebounds, Sexton PRA over, Jonas rebounds, got Claxton rebounds and assists, Jared Allen rebounds. I'm never taking the under on Jared Allen rebounds again. Maybe when he's not playing the Washington Wizards. Zubac rebounds, Trey assist over. Let's see. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome in. Claxton over rebounds. Harden over 3-pointers. Yeah, we talked about that one easy. Jalen Johnson over first half PRA. Huey. Butchered your name. I apologize for that. The site that we're using is called props.cash. It is like all inclusive one-stop shop for all your like player prop research. My referral code is in the description, so 25% off your first month. Use it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But that's what we're using on all the videos, all the recorded videos, all the live content. So that's what the site is. True Allah, what's going on? SGA, PRA, Jalen Duren, double. All right, so Claxton is the man of the hour here. Let's look up Claxton. Clickety Claxton. I so badly want him to take that next step because I have 2 of his rookie autographs that I'm trying to like hold on to. And I really need him to get his career going. And I like him also. I think he's a good player. I like his attitude. And I like the fact that he's not scared of Joel Embiid. He was like talking shit to Joel Embiid, which that was fun to watch. All right, so we got Claxton rebounds at 11. We'll take a look at that. Also, what does Claxton have for first half points? Or excuse me, first half stats. The only lineup for first half for Claxton is 6.5 points. I would be more interested in his first half PRA. All right, so we got Claxton. We had a Colin Sexton PRA at 22 right now. If you got it at 21.5, I mean, that's cool. 22 is the new line for Claxton. We had a Zubac rebounds at 8.5. Where are we at? 6? Okay. All right. Claxton, Sexton, Zubac. Let's go. All right. So we're already on the Lakers or the Clippers and Pels. Zubac rebounds at 8.5. Strong odds in favor of the over here. Rebound set to 9.95. Boom. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of his last 10 games, he hit the over. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. And then 4 out of his last 5, he's gone over this. What a shit game that was. 3 against Phoenix, 3 against OKC. What happened? 27 minutes played. Interesting. All right. Good odds, good 10 game, good 5 game, head to head against the Pels. Not so good. So we have a couple ways to look at this. If you want to look at his game log versus this team, and historically, he hasn't played this team well. You can look at that. However, the odds are in favor of the over for a reason. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of contradicting, right? You see this, and then you see this, and you see this. It's like these two correlate. This one does not. 10 games look great. 5 games look great. Yeah. I like the over on this one. Rebounds and assists for Zubac at 9.5. I don't know if that's a prop over on props.cash you can take, but that one also might be in consideration just because the lines are so close. And it's possible that Zubac can get the over on his rebounds and assists on rebounds alone and give you that one extra assist for that wiggle room. So Zubac's rebounds look pretty solid, to be honest with you. 8.5. Colin Sexton. Oh no, Claxton. Because Claxton is the man of the hour. There's like 7 requests in the chat for Claxton. So 11 is the line on Prizepicks. 11.5 is what FanDuel PointsBet has this. So this is going to bump at some point, I would assume. But currently at 11, looking at what he's done with this line at 11.5, he got 50% hit rate in his last 10, 16 in his last 5, and then 11 rebounds. Does change it up slightly because this goes from an under to a push. So 3, 5 games over, 1 push, 4 games under. So better odds when that line is adjusted to 11. In his head-to-head meetings with the OKC Thunder, he only has 1 to speak of this year. He did grab 16 boards in his last 2 games last season, 13 and 12. But these games, no Chet Holmgren, right? This game, yes for Chet Holmgren on this game. So Chet's also getting juice to the under on his rebounds. So if you see Chet Holmgren's rebounds at minus 146 to the under, he did grab 10 against them last game though. But the people, the books are saying that Chet's not going to hit this, and it's so high towards the under that this is probably going to be, I mean, this is closer to 7 than it is to 8. 6.69. So if Chet gets you 7 rebounds, you know, why isn't he grabbing you more rebounds? Is it because Claxton is grabbing more than him? Is it because Claxton is creating resistance in the paint? So we got one center who is, you know, playing very well against this team, who's been on a heater, and then you have another big on the other side that is projected for 2 less than what his line is on the board for. So Claxton's rebounds look good at 11. The way he's been playing lately, I wouldn't even mind playing it at 11.5 because this is what he's capable of. But I'm not wishing for that. I'll take the 11 over 11.5. So 11 looks good for Clax for sure. Utah, looking at Colin Sexton, PRA. All right. 21.5. Is that what we had it? Yep. Nope. 22. Currently 22 on props.cash or on Prizepicks, 22.5 over here. Only one book has this at 22.5, and that's FanDuel. So looking at it at 22.5, this is what he's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 games over. Bringing it down to 22 doesn't change anything with his game logs because he's going well over it or he's going well under it. There is no in between where that drop would actually impact. And then head to head with the Celtics, he does not have a game this year played versus the Celtics. So no history here. Want to take a look at what point guards have done versus the Celtics over the last handful of games. We can do that. Obviously, no one is going to be comparable to SGA. So this dude sits alone in his own category. So let's look at everybody else. Case and Wallace, we don't really care too much for his lines because I don't even think they're available on pick'em sites. Trey Jones, 14 PRA. We had 26 from Schroeder, 46 from Cade, 22 from Westbrook, 35 from De'Aaron Fox, 42, 28 from Chris Paul. I mean, we're not going to go too far back on this, but you can see some of these results and whether they hit or not. So the fact that Sexton is getting 20, 25 plus minutes in all these games, averaging 30 over his last 10. I know that Drew Holiday's a good defender, but when I watch the Celtics play, he's not locking people down. I don't think that he's keeping the opposing point or twos from actually scoring. He's just a beast in terms of making you work a little harder, chasing you around, stealing, blocking shots. But in terms of just like, oh, you're playing Drew Holiday today, oh, cross that other guy off the list because he's not going to score. I don't think he's doing that this season, at least from the games I've been watching. So the matchup doesn't scare me. On paper, it's not a great matchup because the Celtics are much improved in terms of that defenses, in terms of their defense, but I don't think this matchup is that scary for Sexton. So if you got it at 21.5, good on you. It's still playable at 22 though. And he's projected for 23.06. So gives you a little confidence to take the over on Colin Sexton and his PRA versus the Celtics. All right. Let's see. We got Bay and Brown rebounds. Just talked about Claxton rebounds, Kenneth. SGA PRA. All right. So out of all these plays, Claxton rebounds, Zubac rebounds, and which one? If y'all had to choose between Sexton's PRA and Zubac's rebounds, which ones would y'all choose? Or both? Or both? All right, let's look at who was it? SGA. Why can't I find OKC? There you go. So what are you looking at for SGA? Over under PRA. Currently it is set to 45.5 on props.cash. It is 45.5 on Prizepicks. So no need to adjust the lines. He is projected for 47.07. He's gone over this in 3, 4, 6 out of his last 10, and then 4 out of his last 5. One of those games was against the Celtics where he put up 49 PRA. So we talk about tough matchup, Drew Holiday. I mean, if 49 PRAs, if that's like making it tough for SGA, like I mean, I'm pretty sure most guards will take that performance any day of the week. You know, if that's you making it hard on me and I'm getting 49 PRA, yeah, we'll take that. He is, you know, he's not a machine, he's not a robot. He is capable of going under, but he does go over more times than not. And this matchup against the Nets doesn't seem to pose a lot of resistance in terms of what they're allowing on the year. Bottom of the league in rebounds allowed, three-pointers made. Slightly worse than the league average in points allowed, and right there in the middle in terms of assists allowed. We all know that the majority of these PRAs for SGA they're going to be points. So he is averaging over 30 points, 32.3 to be exact over his last 10, and 34 over his last 5. So on a 45.5 PRA line, you could pencil in anywhere between 32 and 35 points for SGA, and the rest of that will need to come from rebounds and assists. Yeah, I think this one looks good for the over for SGA. I don't know which one, like if you wanted to break it down even more, like which individual line looks good. I mean, his rebounds are not getting solid odds in favor of the over. His assists are getting slightly more favorable juice to the over, but also you're getting this minus 120 over here. His PA looks kind of like a coin flip, and then his PR. Steals and blocks. He's been cold from that. He's been cold with his steals and blocks. Sucks for me because I took him like 2 games in a row for that shit. But there's SGA. PRA. I would lean over on this one. It is it's scary taking the over on such a high number, but I mean, if there is a player in the NBA that, well, it's him, man. It's him. What is he, third in the MVP race right now? Well, how do people have this? Is it Embiid, Jokic, SGA? Is it SGA, Jokic, Embiid? I just think he's playing on such a high level right now. I don't know how you cannot put him in that race. I don't know who the other people are outside of Jokic and Embiid, but yeah, he's playing on another level right now. I saw Jalen Duren in there as well in the chat. Let me just pop back in. Yeah, Jalen Duren double. So we can look at his points and rebounds, because I don't know if he's getting you 10. I don't know if he's getting you 10 assists. But let's look at his points and rebounds. All right, so Jalen Duren, 26.5 points and rebounds. Yikes. Those are really good numbers. Those are really good numbers for him. Matchup with the Golden State Warriors. So, okay, let's consider this. Warriors coming off a really tough loss against the Nugs. And they're at home. But I'm wondering what kind of an emotional state they'll be in terms of energy, in terms of just, showing up. I don't think they lose this game to the Detroit Pistons, but could we see a similar game that could we see a game that we saw like the Bucks and the Spurs, where you expect one team to wax the other team and it doesn't really happen like that? Now the difference is the Spurs were at home and the Pistons are on the road, but this is kind of a letdown spot for the Warriors. I don't think anybody expects them to lose, but man, in the event they come out flat, I mean, despite these odds, this could actually be the result for Jalen Duren. So no games this season to look at, but he did have 2 games last year where he put up 29 and 7. And then you saw what he did over his last 10. You saw what he did over his last 5. This is points and rebounds. All right. We're not digging into anything else right now. So points and rebounds, 25.6 is what he's projected for. Now, if you just want to go into rebounds, we talked about, I don't know if I mentioned this on the stream or if I put this in the Discord, but attacking the Warriors in terms of like bigs, front court rebounds is kind of a thing. I mean, Jokic did not go over his rebound prop yesterday, but he did give 9 rebounds. Aaron Gordon did pull in 9 rebounds. They did lead the team. So you got two front court bigs going for 9 rebounds against the Warriors. And nobody on the Warriors had more than 7 rebounds. And Dario Saric led the Warriors in rebounds. So what I'm getting at here is there's not a whole lot of rebounds being grabbed by the Warriors, leaving more rebounds to be grabbed by the other team, especially when you have bigs that are capable of crashing the boards like Jalen Duren. So want to take a look at his rebound prop. If it's at 12.5 on Prizepicks, that seems, I don't know why that seems a little high, but you could look at his rebounds based off the fact that we know that the Warriors are allowing a fair amount of boards to opposing bigs. And then you got his points right there. But yeah, Jalen Duren for a double-double, that's not, unfortunately, we can't play the double-double prop on Prizepicks. But I guess the closest thing we can get to is the points and rebounds, or rebounds and assists. I mean, what's available for Duren? So 12 rebounds is his line on Prizepicks. 25.5 points and rebounds. Okay. Well, shit. That changes things. So that's going to change the odds. It's going to change the projections. I think this is in play. I think his 25.5 points and rebounds is in play at a lower line. His rebounds at 12 instead of 12.5. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does turn a few unders into pushes. It does improve his hit rate, and it does give you more confidence that more games than not over his last 10, he's at least getting you 12 rebounds. Only 3 games where he can't get you 3, or that he can't get you 12. So that changes everything. I think his rebounds are in play, and I think his points and rebounds are in play today. So there's Jalen Duren. That's what I feel about his lines. DiVincenzo, what's going on? M2MIT. Jonathan, what's going on? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. What do I think about DiVincenzo? Let's look at it. DiVincenzo, 12.5. points. All right. I think that without Quickly in the rotation, this is a good thing for DiVincenzo. Number one. I mean, I think Quickly in Toronto is a much better fit than his role in New York. And I think that opens up minutes and usage for DiVincenzo. Obviously, RJ Barrett not being in New York anymore opens up a lot for everybody. But I think there was more competition between DiVincenzo and Quickly in terms of like their role, very similar roles where they're kind of like that spark plug and they're not a high usage type of player. But when you remove one from the mix, then it does increase the other person's usage and role. So I think DiVincenzo's in a much better spot. I need to start looking at some of his overs moving forward. But in this game versus the 76ers, he is propped at 12.5. I mean, kind of a coin flip with his numbers here at the top. Projected for 14.23 points today. Over his last 10, he has a 50% hit rate. Over his last 5, he brings in a 60% hit rate. And then in his head-to-head meetings with the 76ers, we don't have any with him as a Knick. These 2 games were as a Warrior. So 17-0 for DiVincenzo. I think we need to take a look at his, not just his game logs, but because the rotation is much different, because that whole team is different now with the like with the addition of OG and with the departure of Barrett and Quickly. I think we need to look at his minutes, and we need to look at his field goals taken, shot selection. So these 2 games, new look Knicks, looks like a bit more minutes for DiVincenzo. Are we getting higher shot volume from him in these last few games? Kind of looks like we are. In terms of field goals made, that's better. Field goals attempted. His percentage is taking more shots but not making more shots. I mean, I think that's just the result of you're gonna take more shots, you'll make more, but you also miss more. It's just the math. 3-pointers don't look like they've changed too much. Yeah. So he's definitely getting more minutes. I think he's taking more shots. I think he's in a good spot against the 76ers. It's not an ideal matchup for him because the pace of play, and the 76ers do have a fairly good defense. I mean, this is their read here. But the Knicks are a much different team than they were at the beginning of the year, so that has opened up more for DiVincenzo. It's not a play that I was looking at, to be honest with you, but it is one to consider based off his new role with the Knicks. All right, so this is what we got for a 6-man. Kind of just threw this together. None of these plays that I did not come in with any of these plays saying like, oh, I'm definitely going to play these. I did have Harden on the radar. I didn't have Jalen Johnson first half on the radar, but I did have him like as a name I wanted to dig into. Karl-Anthony Towns, I wasn't even looking at, but after looking at those game logs and looking at his history, this one looks strong. Claxton rebounds are always in play. Colin Sexton does scare me a little bit, but in a 6 pick, I don't think it's a bad play. And then Zubac over rebounds. Now, I guess another thing to like about that Zubac rebounds prop is the fact that New Orleans, I mean, they can roll out. You got Nance in there, and you got Valanciunas in there, and I feel like New Orleans will have a big. Is Nance considered like a small big? Is it like a small 5? I don't know what to consider him. If they want to run small, do they run Zion at the 5? Do they run Nance at the 5? Does that impact Zubac? But I just feel like New Orleans is going to have a big on the court throughout the game, and that should help solidify Zubac's minutes. And hopefully it's enough for him to get 9 rebounds in today's matchup. Ideally, we'd like him to snag rebounds and then have that ball end up in James Harden's hands, and then James Harden's knocking down threes. That's how those two will correlate. Gained extra possessions because Zubac is snatching boards, and then Harden is just knocking down threes. That'd be fantastic. You can also correlate Jalen Johnson with Trae Young's assist if you wanted to take the over on that one. Those two could correlate well. I don't want to get too cute with the Jazz and correlation with the Jazz. I mean, as a one-off, I think Sexton is good. We looked at all his numbers, so This is what we got so far for a 6. I mean, I can run this right now. And if it hits, it hits. All right, let's see here. ATM. Oh, I didn't get Sadiq Bey and I didn't talk about Sadiq Bey. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure about that 5 minutes? Sadiq Bey. All right. Rebound 6.5, right? 4 straight games, 4 out of the last 5, 6 out of his last, 7 out of his last 10. 6.63 are his projections for today. So slightly over this line. I mean, he's just continuing to grab boards. Now, it was easy to say he's overachieving because Jalen Johnson's not in the lineup anymore and Jalen Johnson was hurt. Well, Jalen Johnson's been back for 4 games and Sadiq Bey has hit his prop in those 4 games as well. So I don't believe his production has a lot to do with the absence of James Johnson or Jalen Johnson. So that gives you some confidence to play as under or over. Matchup against the Pacers, we have already talked about how this is a high-tempo matchup, a high-scoring environment. Everyone should benefit from this pace of play. 10 rebounds his last meeting with the Indiana Pacers back on November 21st. So Sadiq Bey is in a good spot today. Coin flip on the odds. Jaylen Brown, was it ATM? Bruce Brown or Jaylen Brown? Let's look at Bruce Brown real quick because we're already in the same game. I don't think you're talking about Bruce Brown, right? Minus 146 on the under. 60% over his last 5 and 10 games. Upside of 9, floor of 2. These are some hell of a heavy odds towards the under. Projected for 4 rebounds on the dot. I think you might be talking about Jalen, right? Rebounds on props.cash are set to 5.5. All right, so on props.cash, it's at 5.5. On Prizepicks, it's at 5. Play the over on this one. I'm not even going to dig into it. Well, I will, but before I dig into it, I'll just say play the over on this one because this is where Jaylen Brown lives. He lives in 5. He lives in 5 land. So he's either pushing it or he's going over. 1 game out of his last 10, he's gone under. In that matchup, in 2 matchups with the Jazz last season, he 4-2. That's last season. I'm looking at this season. Last 5, 100% hit rate of getting 5 or more. You want to go further than that? Look at his last 15 where he brings in a 64% hit rate. And then look at his last 30 where he's bringing in a 57% hit rate, averaging 5.1. He averages 5. This is a strong prop. I don't know if this was bumped from 4.5 to 5. If anybody got this at 4.5, that's a great play. But at 5, it's also a really good play. So Jaylen Brown rebounds look good. All right. Got him, coach. Got him, coach. Welcome. White blowing up today. I hope so. I'm playing his points and rebounds. I hope he blows up. Harden. We talk about Harden's rebounds and assists. They're in a great spot. We talk about Harden's 3-pointers made. They're also in a good spot. I like the over on both of those. say anybody want to check out True's sixth leg? He's got Jalen Duren double, SGA PRA, Jalen Johnson points and boards, Embiid points over, AD, DD, Jay Allen rebounds. Okay. See, problem with Harden is after the first half, he really doesn't try. In the second half, he just stands around looking stupid. It's because he got a lap dance in the locker room and he's still trying to like process all that shit. All right, let's see. Derek White PRA. We can take a look at that real quick. Let's see. Jalen. ATM, you think Jaylen Brown's free throws look good too? Three. Derek White PRA. All right. All right, we're already in Boston. All right. So with Jaylen Brown's with Jaylen Brown's free throws, that's not a prop on props.cash, but we can look at it. We just need to scroll down. Scroll on down to Omeletville. And where the fuck is it? Am I making stuff up here? There you go. All right. So I'm like, I know we can look at free throws on here. Okay. So over his last 30 games, he's averaging 4.1 free throws attempted. He's averaging 3.1 free throws made. Let's reel this in a little bit. Let's look at his last 10. So over his last 10 games, he's averaging 5 attempts. He's averaging 4 free throws made. You can see that in 4 straight games, he's made 4 or more. A few duds in there. Does Utah foul a lot? Is Utah a fouling team? Is Utah the team that's going to send Jaylen Brown to the line? Jaylen Brown likes to drive, especially when Tatum is on the bench. He's going to try to create. He's going to drive. Is Walker Kessler hacking his ass in the paint? Based off those numbers, his 3 free throws do look pretty good. I think the push is in play as well. If he goes to the line 2 times, he has to make all 4. So think about it like that. If he misses 1, he gives you the push. If Jaylen Brown gets to the line more than 2 times, he's going to crush this line because he's not missing a ton of free throws. He's good for maybe 1, right? So you got to hope that he gets to the line at minimum twice, knocks down 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4. Best case scenario, they hack the shit out of him and he is at the free throw line 3-4 times and he's knocking down 5 or 6. Then you're in the clear. There is no sweat. There's no sweat with this one. All right, so let's look at Derek White's PRA. All right, so Derek White's PRA, 25.5 on Prizepicks and props.cash. Slight juice to the over here. Gone over this in 10 out of his last 15, 4 out of his last 5, 7 out of his last 10. In his head-to-head meetings with the Jazz this season, well, none to speak of, so we'll disregard that. Currently projected for 25.31. So projections are not where we want them to be, although Derek White is capable of defying those odds any game he plays. Keep in mind, this game against the Thunder, he missed like 4 minutes with this, like he had to go to the locker room and get stitched up after bumping heads with SGA or some shit like that. So even with him not playing the full first quarter and his full run in the first half, he still managed to get 30 PRA. I mean, he was the reason the Celtics were able to keep that game close going into the final minutes of the game. Without his performance, the Celtics would have been, I mean, they would have been laughed out of OKC. So I'm never opposed to taking the under on Derek White. I do want to say that as he continues to play on this high level, his props will continue to increase. So we have seen the last of Derek White low lines, low point lines, because he is just, the word's out. The cat's out the bag. Derek White is a good NBA player, and he's really good on the Celtics. So we just got to keep an eye on if these lines get out of hand. At some point, we will want to take the under on a few of his props because they're going to be juiced so high. So this game against the Jazz poses a nice matchup. We talk about how bad they are on defense, but Derek White's in a good spot for his PRA. First half is also in play. I don't know if y'all ever look at Derek White's first half lines, but damn, my Prizepicks is on slow motion. 12.5 PRA, 17 fantasy score, and 8.5 first half points. So 12.5 PRA, not 13.5 PRA. Not looking all that great. His first half points. All right, so PRA interests me a little bit because it is lower. His full game line is set to 25.5. His first half is set to 12.5. So that's like right in the middle. At 13.5, that's over the middle line. So at 12.5, you're still getting it at a good line. He just hasn't gone over this a lot, you know. Fantasy score could be in play only because of his upside here. So if you're going to look at any first half point prop or prop for Derek White, I think his fantasy points are in play because if he's able to go out there and get you 3 blocks and steals, that's 9 points. He goes out there and, you know, gets you 3 assists. That's 13.5 points. He goes out there and gets you 2 rebounds. That's 15.9 points. And he goes out there and scores 6 first half points. That's 20 plus fantasy points for Derek White. I think his first half fantasy is the best out of those 3 options over on Prizepicks. So Derek White, you're done. All right. For I think his hair was like the hair was like the roof keeping his confidence like under wraps. I think like, yeah, once he cut his hair, it took the top off the convertible and shit. You're like, hell yeah, this is how you live. Open the roof up, let the sun in. Yeah, for sure. They say that some of these musicians that cut their dreads and shit, they'll talk about how freeing it is. Like they feel like a new person, and it like their energy is up and all this stuff like that. I wonder if that was like if Derek White had any of that going on. I mean, they were talking mad shit about his hairline, so maybe he just got tired of that. Oh man. All right, let's see. MT says take Luka on all tickets. All right, so true. Kessler comes off the bench. Jazz no defense. Okay. Barrett rebounds or hero rebounds. Damn, look at that. I pulled up Barrett as a Knick. It's going to take me some time. Are we not interested in any Raptors today? Because this is a nice game environment for them. pace up game against the Kings. I mean, bottom-ish in the league in terms of points allowed, assists allowed, 3-pointers made, or 3-point percentage. For a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, who's got a new start, coming off a really nice game against Memphis, this could be a really good spot for Quickly in terms of his points or even his PRA. RJ Barrett over boards. Ooh, I might have one for you that is a little sneaky. I played it last time and I was like, okay, I might have to look at this one moving forward. His rebounds look really good. No Randall, no Mitch, no Hartenstein, no ball hogging ass Jalen Brunson. But his rebounds look really good. Even, I mean, as a Nick or a dinosaur. So the one that I was looking at, maybe you're already on it. First quarter points for RJ Barrett. Now, when I played this last time, it was at 3.5. It may not even be on the board. It's not. Look at some of these first quarter points for some of these players. It was at 3.5 for RJ Barrett, and he scored 8 points against the Grizz. This is another good matchup for RJ Barrett in terms of pace of play, defense allowing lots of production. So if his first quarter points if they open at 3.5, again, I would love to take the over on that one. 4.5, not as much, and then anything over that. But sometimes you can find some great value with the first quarter points. Sometimes you can, but his rebounds do look good. You interested in any of his first half points, PRA? PRA probably looks the best out of those two. 3-pointers made for RJ Barrett as well. That used to be a line we took a lot in New York, but he has not really hit this all that often, at least over his last 10. So yeah, RJ Barrett, I love his rebound prop. I mean, I at least love the way these game logs look for sure. Projected for 5.79. So I think we might be able to find some good value in this game on the Toronto side. Like even Siakam, who I can never get right. I just pick him on the wrong games, but yeah. Siakam, Sabonis. Jesus, man. Sabonis had like 40 rebounds and assists last game. His line was set to 19.5. Heavy juice on the under. This guy goes out and gets 35 rebounds and assists. What the hell, man? Against Orlando. So we all know his upside. All right. Any more questions? Let's see. Hero. Yeah, Damian, we just talked about Barrett. Rebound. They bumped it to 5. Check out Barrett, RA. Scotty Barnes, under assists. Embiid, PRA, or first half points. La Liga. Welcome in. I don't know why I'm reading these comments like I'm just learning how to read. Joel Embiid, regular. All right, so Damian says Barrett's rebounds on Sleeper still at 4.5. Play it on Sleeper. That's a nice one. All right. Embiid, PRA. First half points. M2 says Sabonis PRA is a must. Yeah, we haven't talked about Embiid. PRA. So Embiid, SGA, and those are the two that really stand out to me. Embiid and SGA are the NBA's version of Ronald Acuna and Shohei Ohtani, where during the MLB season, regardless of whatever tools you were using to build slips and research, they were all taking heavy juice on the under for home runs, fantasy points, 1.5 hits, 1.5 bases for Acuna. And all he would do is come out and hit a double or hit a home run. Just crazy shit like that. And then Ohtani would do the same thing. And so no matter what the odds would say, no matter what the juice was, in favor of, they would just go out there and do the opposite. You want to take the under on those guys? Good luck. Embiid is in that category now, that no matter what these odds say and the projections say, it's very difficult for me to see him going out there and having a bad game. Same for SGA. So when we look at their props, there is nothing that's a lock in player props, but man, you got certain players that they're pretty close to it. And if you're not convinced on taking their overs, then you probably should just stay away. At some point, they will hit the under. I remember people celebrating when Acuna didn't go over his fantasy score. And I'm like, okay, 1 out of 10 times you lost 9 bets and you won 1 bet. You didn't win that. You didn't win that shit. You lost a lot. And just because it finally hit the under doesn't mean you were right. At some point, these guys will go under. But damn, for the most part, they're not. Embiid over PRA is in play. Regardless of the matchup, regardless of the odds, this dude continues to go out there without James Harden on that team, and he looks like a brand new dude. Last 10, he's gone over this line 70% of the time. Now, the only thing you can look at and say, well, he doesn't play the Knicks all that well. In his last 3 matchups, he's only gone over 1 out of those 3 games. No Mitch Robb. He's going to get Hartenstein in foul trouble. It's like just watching it unfold and you know what's about to happen. You know he's going to dominate. Barring a blowout. Embiid should eat. First half PRA. His first half PRA is his first half PRA is the league average for full game PRA. 2 out of his 3 games. So does he play the Knicks better in the first half than he does full game? It looks like he does. This is in play. Over his last 10, he's gone over this in 9 of those games. Over his last 5, he's gone over in 4. 57% hit rate over his last 30. 73% hit rate over his last 15. Embiid's in play. Steals and blocks in the first half are incredible. So if you want to look at his first half fantasy points, which should be closer to 30, that's also in play. That looks really good. Joel Embiid, first half PRA, full game PRA. Let's see here. Doncic under assist. We can look at that one. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Let's get Scott Barnes under assist, and then we'll look at Doncic under assist. And I think that's going to be it. We're going on an hour and 45 minutes. I could do this all day long, but I'm sure we have other things to do that requires our attention. So we'll cut this after these last two plays. So Doncic assist, Scotty Barnes assist. So Scotty Barnes was in there first. Let's look at Scotty Barnes assist. If you're just joining, I need to get in a better habit of addressing those who have just joined the chat, joined the stream. But I appreciate you being here. We built out a 6-pick flex earlier using plays, research in the live stream, kind of real-time build there. I'll throw that over in the Discord as well, so you can look at it there. Jim, the judge, also posted a 6-pick flex in the Discord. That's available for you to check out. The Discord is full of slips and player talk. It's all free. It's all free. Scotty Barnes under assist. That shit got bumped up, right? It's no longer at 5.5. I was like, what? Scotty Barnes got kicked out of the league? Hope not. Barons? Who the hell is Barons? So Scotty Barnes' assist got bumped up to 6. So, oh my God, minus 150 on the over at 5.5. All right. You want to take a look at the under on his assist? Last 10 games, or excuse me, last 2 matchups with the Kings, he's averaging 10. Those games are from last season. Now, over his last 5 and 10 games, he brings in a 60% hit rate at the 5.5 mark. Let's bump this up to 6. He's still at a 60% hit rate. Now, over his last 5, it looks a little worse because we got that line bumped up. But even if we left it at 5.5, these 3 games are under that anyway. So 2, regardless of where the line is, he's only cleared it in 2 games. Projected for 5.35 assists today versus the Sacramento Kings. Kings are coming in allowing bottom of the league assist. I'm curious. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I'm curious why looking at the under for his assist. Like what is standing out for you personally to look at the under on his assists? Over his last 15, there you go. Is it the increase? Probably maybe the increased line from 5.5 to 6. Now he needs 7 to go over. And then, like, how many games has he got 7? Out of his last 10 games, how many times has he dished out 7 or more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that could be, a big difference there at that 0.5. But there's Scotty Barnes' assist. What about his points? PRA. 3-pointers made. First half. First half points look, based off this information, looks okay. First half PRA also looks in play, and fantasy points. Fantasy points could be in play if his steals and blocks are there. But I just think this is going to be I hope this is going to be a fun game. It feels like it can be a fun game between these 2 teams. A lot of talent on that court on both sides of the ball. So, all right. So there's Scotty Barnes assist, and then Doncic. I guess we can add Luka Doncic in that Embiid SGA category of odds defiers. Although I don't really see a lot of people taking unders on Luka. I feel more people take unders on Embiid. Maybe people just really don't like Embiid and they want him to fail. I don't think people dislike SGA. I think he's a pretty likable dude. I don't think people have a lot of shit to talk about him. But I just feel like Embiid, people just hate him. They hate him because they ain't him. Luka Doncic, 9.5 assists. Coming in at -113 on the over and under, gone over this line in 60% of his last 10, 73% over his last 15, and 60 over his last 5, 70 over his last 10. Projected for 9 assists today. Taking on the Portland. I feel like these teams play every damn night. 1, 2. That's it? Just 2 games? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah. So in 2 out of those 3 games, he did go over this line with exactly 10 assists. His line's at 9.5 over on props.cash, and then on Prizepicks, it is sitting at 9.5. I suppose you're hoping for a blowout, which is in play, and therefore Luka doesn't do as much, or Kyrie Irving isn't he playing tonight? He played last game and they destroyed. Kyrie is not on the injury report, so with Kyrie back, does that cut into Luka's usage? Yes, it definitely does. So you have a couple things to think about here. Potential blowout risk, Luka not needed to play full run. 2, Kyrie Irving is back in the rotation, back in the starting 5, so that does cut into usage for Luka. So those are a couple things to think about versus the Portland Trailblazers. Also, these projections for Luka, that's Kyrie. I was going to say, these projections for Luka are terrible. There you go. Now, one thing you could do for Luka is maybe look at his first half, because, I mean, he is not showing any mercy in the first half. If you're going to let your foot off the gas in the game, it's definitely not going to be in the first 2 quarters. So we're getting full Luka in the first half. We're getting his minutes are there, his production is there, his shots there, everything is there for Luka. He's scoring full game points in 2 quarters. Rebounds are way down. Assists are fine. PRA, fantastic, because his points are high. And then if you're looking at his fantasy score, I mean, he's going to get it done on PRA because he's really not turning teams over. Turnovers per game, he's averaging this is kind of low, to be honest with you, for a guy like him who handles the ball as much as he does. You expect like 7 turnovers on the average. I mean, 5 or less is it's not that bad. It's not going to hurt you if you're scoring 50 points a game. So Luka PRA first half, I like. Luka first half points, I like. I don't know what his fantasy score is, but those are in play for sure. So you want to take the under on his assists, full game assists, but then maybe look at his first half, because against a team like Portland, this could be like one of those games where we see Luka continue to make a case for MVP as well. Jokic, Embiid, SGA, Luka, right? 4 names in that race for MVP. I'm gonna throw Fred VanVleet in there. I'm joking. I tried to hold that face, but I couldn't. All right, so I think that might be it. We're approaching 2 hours. Let's see. Did Luka, Dallas offense runs through Luka. His PRA is always his best set. I agree, true. I agree. Rebounds. Damian, you meant rebounds for Luka, not assists. Under. Okay, that makes more sense. Because this is a little bit more in line with taking an under on a player prop, because this is like we got a lot more reason to look at the under on his rebounds just because of the amount of bodies that are now involved in that offense. I mean, when Kyrie's back, that obviously cuts into his usage, but Derek Lively has also been playing well. I don't know if Derek Lively is playing in this game. Didn't he get hurt last game? Yeah, day to day. But overall, in general, like Grant Williams, Derek Lively, those guys do cut into. I mean, even if they take away 1 to 2 boards a game from Luka, that's the difference between him going over and under. It just occurred to me that maybe you also we're looking at the under on Scotty Barnes rebounds. We'll look at them both. Yeah, so heavy odds on the under for his rebounds at 9.5. Projected for just 7.83. Steep drop off here. Does RJ Barrett's presence cut into Scotty Barnes' rebounding numbers over the last few games? It sure looks like it. So yeah, the unders on Luka's rebounds and Scotty Barnes look in play, but the over on Luka's PRA and first half PRA are definitely in play, as are first half. I tell you what, I will tell you what, to end the stream, let's do this. I don't want to get stupid or careless, but based off what we're talking about here, I think we got some pretty good plays to consider putting in a slip. Let's just see what this looks like. And then if it looks good, we feel good about it, then we can put it on the board. All right, so to build a first half slip, White over first half fantasy, Luka over first half PRA, Embiid over first half PRA, Brown over free throws made at 3. Were there any other first half we were looking at or that I brought up? Let's see. Sometimes I lose track of my own shit. So first half. I think those are the only first half. Oh. How could I forget? Did I put Jalen Johnson in that 6 pick? I did, first half. I don't typically like to run multiple plays in the same play in multiple slips. I like to spread it out a little bit. All right, so these are some first half props we were talking about Luka, Embiid, Derek White, first half fantasy. What about Sabonis first half? PRA. I don't know. Is this considered a tough matchup for him? I tell you what, I don't want to sit here and ponder on live stream. That's bad. That's bad content. These are some first half props that I'm looking at to build a slip with. Once I figure out what I want to add to it to make it a 5, I will post this in the Discord and I will I will put it in my channel. That way, if you want to tell it, you can tell it. But we did build out a 6-pick, and we did go over quite a few player props in today's live stream, probably close to like 30 player props, which is a lot to dig into. There's the Discord link right there, so I'll post both slips into my channel, and that way, if you want to tell it, you can tell it. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring our live stream to an end. Happy Friday to you all. Happy New Year to you all. We're still in the first week of the new year. A lot of energy, a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement for the year to come. I'm still working on my podcast around the mindset on why that energy is not sustainable over the long haul, and what we can do to basically really, really change habits and things in the new year. Not just because it's a calendar change, but because it's a subsurface level change. And I want to create a quick podcast around that. But nonetheless, we are done. We're going to wrap this up. Again, if you want to take a look at these first half props that I'll be putting into a slip, this is what I'll be working with. I'm going to add 1 to 2 more. If you have any first half player prop suggestions, throw them in the Discord as well, and I'll add them if they fit the slip. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you for lasting this long, making it this far in the live stream. Consider subbing up to the channel. Hit that like button on your way out. More than likely, we'll do a live stream tomorrow. Probably not going to be this long, but the weekends are a little different. But we'll try to get a live stream in there. If not a live stream, then we'll definitely do a quick recorded video going over a few NBA and NFL plays for tomorrow. We got some NFL on the slate for tomorrow. So listen, best of luck to you all. I hope all of your player props respect the coin. And until my next live stream, NBA player prop video, you name it, Chavez is out.